welcome to the Point. It is Thursday, November 26, 2020. Thank you to those of you joining us on the GBN Grenada Broadcasting Network's Facebook page, the Grenada Broadcasting Network's YouTube channel, the 120, and good morning to the listeners of Classic 105.5, 105.9. This morning I have joining me as my virtual joining us.
Oh yes, thank you. It's a pleasure, man. It is a pleasure.
So what I want to do this morning is we're winding down 2020, a year that would definitely...
Why are you whining though?
Well,
it's
we in November.
Blossom. It's only 9 o'clock. Why are you whining?
Very funny. I want us to, as we have just one more month and 2020 is definitely one for by COVID-19. From your looking back at 20, how you think this has played out for 2020, our response, our handling of the situation and the economy, the tourism, agriculture, everything impacted by COVID-19?
Okay, Blossom, thank you. COVID-19 has affected us significantly. It has. Very impacted by the virus. And so of containing the virus and ensuring that our people are safe. I mean, to this date, we have not recorded any deaths from COVID-19. We had limited amount of cases, again, when you compare to other islands. Trinidad, just next door, I mean, they've had, probably, yes, hundreds. I mean, Jamaica is now hitting all the way up there. St. Lucia is going. We at 41? That in itself is a good thing, meaning that we understand how it got here, and so we've been able to keep it on the wraps. Along the way, there are some things that could have been done differently and better, but nothing is perfect. Nothing is perfect. If it was, maybe the results may have been a little different, but I said we're okay. For now, and I think what is important, our leaders and policymakers to fix this situation for us. We have a role to play as well. We have to ensure that we protect ourselves. You cannot leave it up to someone. We can do more as a people, as the announcement that we had. But then if something goes wrong, then are you going to blame the government for your irresponsibility? No, don't blame anyone. Know what has to be done. I think the messages has been out there, and we know what the protocols are, and we need to observe it. And we're not observing it because we need to protect ourselves. To other things, it has affected business significantly. At one point, we were on lockdown, like most countries in the world. Some businesses, but find a stimulus pack into it. One of the pluses, though, and I hope that our leaders are paying attention to that, there has been, I think, involved in some levels of agriculture. GBN has a role to play in that because we have the agriculture program that encourages people to get an agronomist, Mr. Mitchell, and other individuals. So it's a direction that we need to look to because if this continues, and I believe you me, it was, people are going to put the first, and it definitely will not be the last. So we have to bear these things in mind. I also hope to help us to manage our resources. While you do stuff, understand the importance of working with your needs, more than what you want. And so I hope we've learned that live better lives.
Part of the COVID-19 response, so we handle in that part. In response, was it effective as the Ministry of Health was hoping and anticipating, or more needed to be done there?
More could have been done. However, we have to bear in mind, we cannot continue to keep our borders closed. That's on sources that we can, turn. Part of our tradition has been getting support from friends and family overseas. I mean, we know that. With borders closed, we cannot do that because you might find yourself in a situation where in trying to solve a problem, you are creating a bigger problem. So I think the problem is when they open their mouth, words that just fly out, you know? So a lot of times I think they don't have control over what they say. Serious thought. And you have, because once it comes out of your mouth, they talk and sometimes they don't, well, not talk, they open their mouth and in some cases the wrong thing. Of course, more can be done. I believe sometimes they've guessed a thing or two, but it worked. And so we now have to play our part, you know, in to keep it closed. We have protocols in place for people coming in. So we understand that. That's a given fact. I've heard some stories that have not been good. There are people who've been in quarantine and they're waiting on test results and they cannot get it. And you're waiting to get your results. And your time has come and you can't hear from anyone. People start to get a little antsy. They get anxious because, look, it is difficult. It is very difficult to be inside. That's not how we operate here. You remember Uncle Gary said, we love to jump up. So you have to, you must. So your tests are done, you know, but continue to do what we have to do to keep things going. Because we can't remain under lockdown. We can't. It just won't work.
Let's switch far for 2020. Grenada has recorded, I believe it is 16 violent killings or 15 homicides for 2020. We've also had a few completed suicides taking place. We'll get into sexual violence in a while, but let's deal with those for now. Our murders and the suicides, male suicides primarily. What do you think about that and the numbers that we've recorded so far?
Blossom, from time immemorial, there have been murders, there have been suicides, and there will always be that. However, I am concerned about the rate because one murder is one too much. And when you start hearing of suicide cases, there is the aspect of concern as it relates to why are people doing it? You know, you probably feel that, look, I'm fed up, I can't take it anymore. And so that's it for me. That is of concern. So we need to look at the source of the problem, look to see what is the cause of the problem. And this is where we have to start. What is causing the problem? Because if you do not know the cause of but if you're wrong, then you in a worse position. So I think our Ministry of Social Services need to start looking seriously at the things that are bothering them, what's on their mind, what are their stresses. And so we need to put things in place to address it. Because if we don't know what the problems are, we cannot address them. And everybody's different. People are different. You know, our makeup is all different. And so what might trigger you off may not understand these things. And different things would affect that small thing. No, that's for you. For somebody else, it may not be. And so we have to go back and look at people's upbringing, their backgrounds, you know, and this is where we are going to find answers. This is where I think they need to look. Then there's also the issue of rehabilitation. I have serious, I've had some, I have not spoken about it before, but the Ministry of Social Services need to take a serious look at what is happening there. One of the problems we face in Grenada is that too many things are politicized as it relates to party. And when you have organizations where you employ people who interferes with their ability to function effectively, that has happened at the center in Bacolod. I know that for certain, and I'm not afraid to say it. I can bring the evidence. I'm not like those who say they have tape and they can't present it. When I tell you I have the tape, I had the tape. There have been some serious issues there. We will not get the results that we are looking for. To have a rehabilitation center takes a lot. You need professionals, people who understand what is involved. You need people who understand psych. And if you don't have people who understand it, you will notice. And we have the right people in place, people who are getting better results. So that's another area. The murders, we need to look at the issue of dealing with conflict. And that's something that has to start from a very young age with children. Conflict resolution. How do people settle differences? And someone think that they have to go to a weapon. Why? Clearly, that individual, the upbringing, how were these people brought up from a very young age? Were they exposed to an environment, different opinion, or not to agree on something to settle it? You know, being services need to look at. Because if it's not, problems will continue. We are going to continue to have these murders taking place. We are going to continue to have suicides. We're going to continue to have, mind you, everything that happens in some way influences someone else. And if that someone else does not have the capacity to understand what is involved, then they may go down the same road. You know, look at our music, for example. When you hear instructive songs play and people forget everything else and follow the instructions, it tells you that something is not right. We need to address that, and quickly, because and there are people who are dangers of it, because they probably don't understand that this is a very serious matter and it does not make you, you know. I heard of a situation, physically abused a lady. She ran into a parliamentary vehicle for rescue, almost choking blood. What is wrong? What is it you could be thinking to violently beat on someone, and whether it's male or female, and that person is bleeding, crying for help, and something is wrong. Clearly, that individual needs help. It needs help. And these problems don't just start. So important that we start teaching our young children how to deal with differences. It's okay to be different. It's okay to disagree. But it does not take violence.
Let's take a break, and then when we come back, we're going to get into some government projects that have been the talk of the town for the past few weeks. This is To The Point. We're recapping 2020 with Godfrey Augustine. We'll be right back with To The Point.
Protect yourself and our community from COVID-19. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. If soap and water are not available, use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer with at least 70% alcohol. Use a tissue when blowing your nose, sneezing, or coughing. Immediately discard the tissue properly and wash or sanitize your hands. Avoid close contact with people who are sick. To stay up to date, visit the Government of Grenada's webpage or the Ministry of Health's Facebook page. For more information, contact the Ministry of Health's hotline by calling 53-VIRUS. This has been a public service announcement brought to you by the Ministry of Health.
From Monday, November 2nd to Thursday, December 31st, GBN's Christmas Caravan will be blazing the trail of goodness across Grenada. Join us as we journey daily to find the hottest deals this Christmas season. Win prizes from our partners. Get recipes for your favorite Christmas treats and bust a tune in the Christmas Karaoke Fun segment. It's GBN's Christmas Caravan. Weekdays from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Live on Classic Radio 105.5 and 105.9. GBN Television. channels 7 and 11, GBN's Facebook page, and GBN's YouTube channel. Your mid-mornings will never be the same.
The Christmas Caravan is brought to you in part by Hubbard's and the Food Fair Supermarkets, Gittins Healthcare, Sissons Paint, and Bryden and Miners and Ace Hardware.
Another major talking, the projects that have raised alarm really by members of the public, including the airport expansion project, the breakwater project. As the host of one of our popular programs here, Release It, I know you're privy to feedback from the public. What has the consensus been from the major complaint has been no consultation? What have you been hearing?
That is a serious issue, Blossom. It's unfortunate that government does not see the need to consult with its people. When they wake up and they open their eyes, they're inside Parliament. That's not how it worked. They were voted into office. And when you're voted into office, what that placed some level of confidence in you, an obligation. And that is a problem I personally have with some of our policymakers. As it relates to the airport expansion of our airport, yes, we have an international airport. What is the volume of traffic coming into our island? Now, take into consideration, we have two main hubs, Trinidad to the south and Barbados to the north. Well, yeah. Northeast kind of thing of us. They are main hubs. Airport expansion, yes, but to what level? Do we need an additional taxiway? At this point, I don't think so, because we do not have the volume of traffic that we require to spend that kind of money there. All right. You would probably go to the airport and hours on end, there is nothing happening. Except you want to put another road for security, not to heckle people for no parking. That's one thing. I had a problem there. But seriously, I don't, and all of that. We recently heard what happened. We were downgraded because of some issue as it relates to fire protection, all of that. So these are areas that we need to look at. Additional ramp space. I don't see no problem there to ensure that we have enough separation while the aircrafts are on the ramp. But seriously, at a time like this, you continue to take loans. How are we going to pay it back? Taxpayers, cost of living extremely high. So constantly people are under a lot of pressure, because you don't have the resources that you require to do what you need to do. One, because of the cost of living. We make ends meet. We're hearing now that we have to prepare for tough measures coming. Government had to come up with a stimulus package. Now you're talking about expanding that, in my opinion, is not necessary, meaning the volume of upgrading that you want to do, I don't think it's necessary. That's my opinion. That's what I've been getting from people on the outside. And added to that, I don't think government is being straight with us. They never tell us the whole story. They tell us what they want, and they do their own thing. And that is a problem. Now, my biggest concern is how many of us in Grenada are paying attention to these things. to ensure that we hold to about 2008. And the thing is, Blossom, the signs are there. The signs are there. We see the signs, but we are not paying attention. We were promised oil. I mean, we were promised that. We were told that we get oil. Nowadays, you hear absolutely nothing about it. It is not even mentioned. The only oil you're hearing now about is in Lockalome. I mean, come on. Come on. Why aren't they being straight with us? It is not right. And as I said, my concern is, as a people, we are not paying enough attention to what is happening. And then later on, we're going to find ourselves in a position where it has become too difficult. And then what do? Then pay attention to them. And people need to speak out. Everyone has a stake in what happens in our country. Mr. told us, don't be afraid. No politician can do you anything. They can't down the road.
I briefly mentioned, not promotion, but Christmas programs we have here. Thoughts on subjects, just highlight.
GBN staff, I have to take a bow because I'll tell you what, we have been through a very difficult year and programming that can really help people. We have to release a program where we have our Christmas caravan, which brings we have and enjoy it. And Blossom, I would be totally silly. Pretty color hair, you know. But he said to me, I find Blossom getting bright. You know, but I tell you this, the network has played a significant role in keeping people happy. We have the programming. We have what it takes to keep people, give people the hope that they need to get through this difficult period. No other station, whether we're on COVID-19, we were there. Every program we did during that period was geared at pointing out to people the importance of protecting themselves, what needs to be done. I mean, we did it. We did it. And we now have this We Culture program that is kicking up a storm where it is very nostalgic. And, you know, people are just going crazy because they're getting to sit and reminisce and remember the old days. And it's just making people so happy. When they call the program, you can hear the joy in their voice, the laughter. People call and they're so taken up with the laughter that they can hardly say what they call to say. And it shows, you know, the sort of work that's been done at the network to create that joy for people. And I'm very, very happy to be part of this. Very, very happy to be part of this. So I want to encourage people, you know, to continue to tune to GBN. You won't get a better start than with Blossom in the morning. Then, of course, we have our good boy, JC, in the mid-morning. JC cracks me up. And I mean, and it's just beautiful. You know, our newscasts, I mean, everyone tunes in to get our newscast. In the afternoon, Donnell with his wide array of music. And then I come on in the evening to, you know, to sort of close the day on the best possible note. So we have it. We provide people with information on agriculture. We provide people with information on the law, on the Constitution. Every area you can think about. Health. I mean, think about it. We do it all with the intention of helping people to live better and to get the kind of entertainment that is healthy for them. So you would not tune into the network and hear this ray, unless Blossom is here bong away in the morning. But
which sometimes happens, I'll admit.
No, I'll tell you something. It's as a Negro Oh, yeah. We will continue to do what we do at the network to ensure that we give people hope. And people get to win wonderful prizes, gifts. I mean, and there's so much happening, you know? So I want to encourage folks to continue to keep their dials locked into the network, radio, TV. We have what you require to keep you happy and going.
All right, let's hear from our listeners and viewers who may have comments, questions, queries, concerns. Let's see what you're saying, hear what you're saying. The phone has been ringing since Godfrey started. I'm getting kudos speaking. Let's hear what this caller has to say. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. I too share, the majority, but I'll tell you the story another day. Anyway, I must indeed say that I'm satisfied with an announcer stroke reporter interviewing another one of their co-workers. But I want to go straight to the point. There is a program aired on Wednesday evenings at 7, couple of minutes, 6 to 7. It has Constitution, education on the Constitution. The caucus, which has this program there, trying to inform, I must commend them on the effort to inform the Grenadian population, and it's an undertaking in this area. Never. It's extremely important. But my point is this. My understanding is that for this civic exercise, and indeed it is, this organization has to pay GBN. Of course, GBN is in business. But whereas, I refer to specifically the nature of the exercise, it's a national effort to the people of this here country prior, 50 years almost. My appeal, therefore, to the management of GBN, that all charges to that caucus for the hosting of the program should be exonerated. In other words, the nature of the program is national, it's one of national interest, educational. So my appeal, I can't speak on behalf of anybody. I am calling on GBN to exonerate.
Okay.
Thank you very much, and do have a nice day, will you?
Thank you very much, Citizen Rollo. Godfrey?
Yes, indeed. We started the program. As a matter of fact, Blossom, during the height of the COVID period, like everybody else, we were affected at the network. We were going through a difficult period as well, and so we had to make changes to our programming. TV news with radio, so we have a simultaneous broadcast, and so we were left with a gap between the 6 and 7 slot. And so, the managing director suggested that we came up with some programs, and I'm happy that they have worked well. And it has helped significantly in creating more awareness to people in the different areas. Citizen Rollo just spoke about the Constitution program. We can recall what happened in 2016 when we attempted constitutional amendment and how people rallied with that. Again, it was the GBN that led the way in educating people on the Constitution. And there were lots of feedback. And I've never seen a period where people were so in tune with the Constitution. As a matter of fact, I have to confess, I've had a copy of the Constitution many, many, many years ago. And when the issue of constitutional amendment came up, I had to go and search for my Constitution. I didn't know it was, And when that period came, it brought awareness and people started to rally with it. And we were able to have different guests. We had people who were versed in constitutional law. We had other attorneys come onto the program to help explain different aspects of the Constitution. And people became very aware of it. So and I'm saying we tailor our programming to the needs of the citizens, and that is very important. That is very important.
So can we give them a discount, which is what Citizen Rolo is asking, or completely take away the charge, or that's for the powers that be?
You have to speak to marketing as it relates to, I really don't know. I am not even sure. But clearly we are prepared to accommodate them. And we do a lot of programs as providing information to the public. We do. Bearing in mind, we do have a lot of costs on our hands that we have to take care of. And considering how business has been and the significant drop in advertising, one can only imagine how difficult it is for us at the GBN. So we continue to rally through difficult times and do what we have to do.
Somebody on Facebook is asking, do you think what changes do you see need to be made based on the topics discussed of the program? And lastly, do you think people are listening?
It was also during the COVID when we had this program and we were making reference to some issues, and the Minister of Health sent me a WhatsApp, and he was very angry. And in the WhatsApp, he dared me to read the WhatsApp on air, and I did, and he even went on to say that my guest should realize that he is in the age where people are more vulnerable than others. So the Minister of Health was quite rude to us. And the thing is, we were not saying anything that was wrong. We were just stating the fact. We were stating facts. Because when we speak on the program, we don't guess. We say what we know. Because I'm very much aware that there are people who would love to file a lawsuit against us and our company. And so we would do everything in our power to protect that. We don't go there trying to destroy anyone or anyone's property. And that's the key. So we have to be very, 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 very careful. So yes, people are listening. We have seen, first time caller, but I'm always listening. So you get that very much. So people are learning to speak out more and more. And I think this is speak out against what is happening. That is significant. So yes, the program has made a difference and will continue to make a difference because we are going to continue to touch the issues as they happen. No fear, no favor.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning, sister. How are you?
I'm good. How you doing?
Good morning, brother.
Morning.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that up to last night, me and my brother was talking in GBN. The other issue I would raise, we need to hear the facts. And this is what would make this people would use their head and make decisions because you cannot keep hiding under a thing. I remember she walked in the same field with the adolescents. She could take herself to work and back because she retired. And I spoke to many of the PSEs who came to the ministry and she had a sister here who telling me the lady want to come. She really want to come and give Grenada something to help Grenada. And I never bothered with her. And when you catch up yourself, I worked with kids in some of those camps, in one of those camps. And at the end of the camp, the PS commended me for how I handled the children. They were real rude and out of place. And by the end of the camp, I was like their mommy. I cope and help them to come from that situation. But I walk inside it. They open the thing. They never see me as somebody to put inside it because they know I'm not a NNP. And when you catch up yourself, the place full of NNP. From security, cook everything to right to the third. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Response?
Yes, the victimization from people in office because as a people, we have to realize that we have the power and it lies in our index finger. So look, I have no apologies for saying that. We need to pay attention to what is happening in our country because we have given a mandate to our leaders to manage the country in the best possible way. And presently, it has not been managed in the best possible way. Now, I am not saying that But the bottom line is, there are a lot of things that can be done differently. I don't expect any administration and do what you're supposed to do, then I don't see a problem. I don't believe the Grenadian people are so selfish and so hard-hearted that if a government cannot fulfill all their mandates, that they would be cruel to them. I don't think so, not at all. But government needs to be more forthcoming. They need to be more truthful, and there is some level of victimization taking place. I know that for certain. And you see it a lot with some of the job opportunities. And we can start with the devolution program. There are areas where you go and you see the same people in the program every time the program comes around. That is a fact. That is a fact. The same people every time. And that is wrong. If you claim that everything you do are benefiting, why? It is not right. We are all Grenadians. You see, Blossom, during an election, when the campaign is going on, you campaign for individual candidates for each constituency. But when the election is over, you no longer have candidates. What you now have is a parliamentary representative. So you're not representing NNP or NDC. You are representing everyone, be it NNP, NDC, whoever, whichever party. People are no longer that. They now seek the interests of its constituents. Not of NNP, not of NDC, but of its constituents. And so, if there is a pie to share, even if everybody get one little grain of macaroni, that's how it is supposed to be. Not one set get half of the pie, and then you give the others one grain, one grain, one grain. No, it doesn't work like that. Because you are representing the entire constituency. That's how it's supposed to be.
Godfrey, thank you so much. As we looked back at 2020, I think we need to make this a regular thing. Don't worry, we go talk. We will talk afterwards. Thank you so much. Have yourself a good day. Continue to be safe and continue to be COVID-19 smart.
Oh, definitely. Thank you, Blossom, and thank you to all the folks out there. I'll be seeing you later. Remember, tonight, Thursday, it's our open line edition. So we are going to continue from where I left off now. Bye. See you then.
Bye, Godfrey. Have a good day. A brethren of mine, a colleague here at the GBN, part of the family, Godfrey Augustine. Join him every day, regularly. Much for being our guest this morning. And thank you, our viewers and listeners, for tuning in to The Point. Appreciate your time and your viewership as always. Have a good day.